Next question is from Jenna on Snapchat. How do you figure out what to do with your life? Oh my gosh, this is going to be a long one. Because I do have a pretty good understanding of, and I feel like I'm allowed to answer this question in a way because sure, I'm only 23, almost 23. I have no idea where my life's going to be in 5-10 years, but for the last 3 years, I've been focused predominantly on one issue, which is vegan activism. And before that in my life, I swear I would switch around every 2 weeks trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So this has been really consistent, and I feel like I've gotten there. We'll see. I have no idea what the world will have in store, but I'm pretty sure it is liberating animals and promoting veganism for the planet, for your own health, for the animals. So how do you do that? How do you figure out what you want to do with your life? Instead of answering it, I'm just going to tell you my experience of how I figured it out because I think it's going to be different for everyone. All I know is my own experience. So in high school, as I kind of touched on in a previous question, I was a pretty average kid. You know, I didn't stand out in any way. I wasn't too academically strong. I wasn't too athletic. I wasn't too passionate about anything. I was just kind of a cool guy who did my thing. I liked to make pottery. I was pretty good at that. But I did not have a purpose in life. I did not have a meaning, and I had good friends and just liked to hang out and do normal dude stuff. And it wasn't until I decided to go against the grain and not go to college right after high school and take a gap year, which is when things started to get more real and I started to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So what I did was I liked to bicycle at that time and I wanted to travel in middle America because I'm a very sheltered Los Angeles city kid in Hollywood and I wanted to see what the rest of the country, most of the country was really like. So I hopped on a bicycle with my brother and my best friend and we took a train to Virginia and we biked home to Los Angeles. I have a video about that on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I biked across the United States for 81 days. And pretty much what that means is you don't need to bike across the country to figure out what you want to do with your life. But I dramatically changed during that trip in terms of being interested in what I wanted to do with my life. And I understood things more. And what I attribute that to is I took myself out of my comfort zone and did something that brought obstacles to my life every single second. I mean, the amount of obstacles you run into biking across the country, from flat tires in the middle of nowhere, getting yourself in weird situations with strangers in out in rural areas, figuring out every night where you're gonna sleep. There's so many obstacles, physical obstacles, emotional obstacles, spending time on your own. But I biked for like 9 hours a day just in my own head, staring at these country roads and farms. So what I'm saying is that when I took myself out of my comfort zone and did something that no one else was doing and that I could not expect what was going to be in the path the next day, that's like after that trip and after my whole gap year, which was a series of events from going to bumming around Southeast Asia, working on orangutan orphanage, hiking the John Muir Trail, which is a 225-mile wilderness backpacking route in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California. I pretty much did all this crazy stuff that I did not know what to expect. I was young. I was 18 and 19 years old, and I came out of that trip a vegan activist, and it hasn't changed since. So you just got there, like you don't need to read a book. You don't need to watch a documentary. You don't need to have an epiphany of what you need to do with your life. You just need to put yourself in situations where you figure out what you don't want to do with your life. And the only way to do that is to try new things, experiment, dive deep into something. And the minute that your gut says, this is not for me, go change to the next thing until something really sticks. That is how you want to figure out what to do with your life. And for some people, that could take a long time. For me, I guess it took till I was 19 years old and I sort of figured it out. Again, who knows if I figured it out, but I think I have. So yeah, just go experiment. You don't need to spend money. You don't need to go travel across the world. Just do something, even if it's in your local town that you've never done before. Experiment and just try as many things as possible until something sticks. So Jenna, I hope that helps. Next question is from Samantha on Snapchat. How do you warm up before lifting weights? This is going to be a short and simple one. I have to bike about 5 minutes to the gym. So most of the time, I'll be totally honest, I pretty much consider my warm up to be that. I ride my bike to the gym, park it, and then go and weight train. But let's say I feel like I'm cold, I need to warm up a little more. I'll just get on like the stationary bicycle, probably for 10 minutes at a low speed, low intensity, and just warm up that way. And I'll move my arms around, move my shoulders around if I'm doing that kind of stuff. And I'll always like the first set of any exercise I'll do pretty light just to get my body adapted to it, and then I'll go into the working set. So, you don't have to do deep. I actually heard you shouldn't deep stretch before a weight training or even a cardio workout. You should just do like motion kind of movements to warm up, like taking a walk, taking a little jog. So that's what I do. Next question is from PR on Snapchat. She's transitioning to a vegan diet, but she says she doesn't like unflavored foods. How did I deal with this? Like not eating too much salt. Okay, well, first off, going vegan has nothing to do with the amount of flavor in your food. Like flavorings are almost always vegan when it comes to things like salt, things like pepper and curry powder and cumin and turmeric and garlic and onion. Spices in general are all plants, so I don't see why you would think that going vegan means you're going to eat unflavorful food. Like if you eat rice or quinoa, which are kind of flavorless, you can add in things like, as I said, garlic, onions, salt, pepper, spices, the ones I just listed. So vegan food is not unflavorful. When it comes to salt, sure, like you can always put salt in your food. That's totally vegan. I don't think it's healthy. I personally don't use any salt whatsoever when I prepare food. When I go out to a restaurant, they put salt in it, and I'll eat it probably once a week, but I don't cook with salt at all. I think that's the biggest thing with your question is how do you get off the salt addiction? And the answer is it is an addiction. If you eat salt all the time, your tongue says, if there's not salt on this food, it's bland, I don't want to eat it. And I don't think that's something that is healthy and sustainable because salt it doesn't make me feel good. I feel so much better eating on a low sodium diet. So that's honestly the only way to do that is wean yourself off of it. Whether that's reducing your salt intake over a number of weeks, or if you want to go cold and just stop eating salt altogether for probably a full week or two, your food's going to taste really bland, but eventually you'll start to become in tune and sensitive to different flavors that you weren't before because the salt was just overpowering all your food. So yeah, that's what I'd say. I mean, my food is so flavorful. I make cinnamon pumpkin spice oatmeal and chocolate banana ice cream with carob powder and curries with curry powder, turmeric, cumin. So food is very flavorful on a vegan diet, but I do not recommend salt, and I guess you just got to wean yourself off of it or just stop altogether, and you'll start to notice the flavors in food more. Next question, also from Snapchat, from, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this name, Sheena Theokli, or something like that. She says, have you ever tried intermittent fasting on a vegan diet, and what are my thoughts on it? I actually have. This past summer, I intermittent fasted for about 50 days, which was a really intense but cool experience. So first, if you don't know what intermittent fasting is, it's where you restrict your eating window of the day to a short period of time, anywhere from I think they say it's 8 to 2 hours. I usually did a 5 to 6 hour eating window, and then you fast for the other, 16, 18 hours of the day. So why would you do this? There's a few reasons. Some people just say it's a healthy way to eat, to give your body a fasting period every single day that's longer than just a night's sleep, 7 or 8 hours. It's healthy in order for your body to heal and recover from anything that it needs to. When you intake food, even if it's the cleanest food, like raw vegan foods, in my opinion, it still takes your body a lot of energy and work to digest that food. And giving yourself fasting periods allows your body to chill out, doesn't have to worry about digestion, and it can worry about healing other things. So that's one reason people intermittent fast. Another reason is for weight loss. They say it helps because you have a longer window where you have no sugars and energy calories in your body, so it needs to use fat to burn throughout those 18 hours that you're up or sleeping when you don't really have any food in you, which kind of makes sense to me. But the reason I did it is because Last spring, I'd been bulking for like a year and a half from like my skinny 140 pound self, and I got up to 191 pounds. It was insane. A lot of that was muscle mass, and a lot of that was equally fat because I refused to do any cardio because I wanted to just make gains, and I ate a ton of food, like to the point of being like disgusted every single day. Because I wanted to gain muscle, and that's how I thought you were supposed to do it. So I got pretty fat and strong at the same time, but I had no abs. I was soft. And so this summer I was like, okay, I want to do a photo shoot in the end of August, just to get some pictures for social media, just to show people my transformation. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to get lean. And so I pretty much researched what are the best ways to do that. First off, you need to be in a caloric deficit, obviously. You need to be eating less calories per day than you need to be eating less calories, than you burn per day in order to lose body mass. If you're eating the same amount of calories as you burn, you are going to maintain. If you're eating more, you're going to gain weight through muscle or fat. So I was in a caloric deficit every day, and within my short eating window that I decided to eat, I was in that caloric deficit. So pretty much what that means is I was burning, let's say if I burned 3,500 with my exercise and basal metabolic rate throughout the day, I would then eat like 3,000 calories that day, so be in a 500 caloric deficit, and only eat those 3,000 calories within a 6-hour window. It usually meant from like 1 p.m. to 6 or 7 p.m. And it worked. I lost a lot of weight. I mean, if you guys see my pictures, I went from like 191 to like 170 in like 50 days. I lost a lot of fat. And I was pretty shredded, and it worked. And it was crappy at the beginning because you're obviously hungry throughout that 18-hour fasting window. But after like 2 or 3 weeks, I actually totally adapted to it. And I was still hungry in the last few hours, but like it wasn't a painful hungry. My body adapted to it. A lot of animals obviously do intermittent fasting out in the wild, fast for days until they get food. So I think if you try it and put yourself on a cycle, it can work. But honestly, do I think there's really any benefit to it in terms of weight loss or health? I cannot speak to that because who knows? Maybe if I was still in that caloric deficit but ate at any hour I want, it could have done the same results. A lot of people say intermittent fasting is proven true. A lot of people say it's absolutely not, and you just need to be, in a caloric deficit to lose weight. I really don't know. I've tried it though, and it wasn't too bad, but who knows if it really works. Sorry if that's sort of a half-assed question.